Welcome to City Roundup, brought to you by the City of Pensacola, with your host, Saida Rosa. City Roundup is your one-stop shop for everything having to do with the City of Pensacola. And now, Saida.
Hello and welcome to another episode of City Roundup. I'm your host, Saida Rosa with the City of Pensacola. As always, we want to start off with a message from Mayor Grover Robinson.
Hi, and welcome to another week here at the City of Pensacola. We've got a lot of things going as we're starting February. Certainly, we're very happy for Phil. It's going to bring us early spring, we hope, but continue to be prepared out there and see what's going to be happening. We'll continue to tell you if there are challenges or anything's going to happen with the weather here at the City of Pensacola. But we are moving forward. We have a lot of good things happening. We are already scheduling. There's going to be a town hall meeting in District 7 at the Theopolis May Center on February 18th. So we hope you'll be able to come out and attend. We have other things that are continuing to happen with the transition team as we move forward. And I will be spending a work day with the sanitation department here in February. So we've got a lot of good things happening. Please let us know however we can help you make our services better for your community. We continue to work for you and look to do the best job we can for you each and every day. Thank you.
The mayor is on social media. You can follow him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All you have to do is search Pensacola Mayor. You get a behind-the-scenes look on what he's working on, his thoughts on important issues, and much more. This week on The Upside, we have a very special visitor to tell you about. It's why hosts Vernon Stewart and Tanya Vaden are on location at Plaza de Luna. Learn more right now.
Welcome to The Upside, brought to you by the City of Pensacola, with your hosts, Vernon Stewart and Tanya Vaden. Also, special reporter Allie Norton. The Upside is here to bring you news, views, and activities from right here in Pensacola. And now The Upside with Vernon and Tanya.
Welcome back to another episode of The Upside. I'm your host, Vernon Stewart.
And I'm Tanya Vaden, and we're here at the beautiful Plaza de Luna on Pensacola's waterfront.
And that's because it is that time of the year again where we'll be looking for the sales. That's right, we have a tall ship coming. We'll have the Lynx Tall Ship visiting February 5th to March 11th. The Tall Ship Lynx will offer free tours to the public and host dockside history programs for local students. The Tall Ship has been working with our Community Redevelopment Agency for this visit.
3 decades of service to Pensacola. It was 30 years ago that Pensacola Police Chief Tommy Leiter graduated the academy. Our reporter Allie Norton had a chance to sit down with him and talk about policing in Pensacola.
Vernon, Tanya, what I'm holding is a vintage newspaper thanks to the archives of Councilwoman Ann Hill and features Pensacola Police Chief Tommy Leiter when he was 20 years old. Chief Leiter was one of 6 recruits who was followed by a journalist for a feature piece on the police academy. That was 30 years ago. I had a chance to sit down with Chief Leiter for an interview. Here's a peek. Chief Leiter, 30 years of service.
30 years. I graduated from the academy actually 30 years ago. I was 20. So I had to wait till I was 21 to get hired. So I actually in service is 29 years, pushing 30. So if we're technical, I got hired in 1990.
What's been your main takeaway after nearly 30 years of service?
You know, despite what you hear on the news, people are good. I think sincerely, the vast majority of the population, they just want to do good. They're good, kind people.
I asked Chief Leiter about his experience the past 3 decades, how policing has changed, and what advice he had for people looking to make policing a career. You can watch that full interview on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Vernon, Tanya.
Thanks for that, Allie. It's Black History Month, and the City of Pensacola has plenty of ways to celebrate, right, Tanya?
That's right, and we'll be adding events as the month goes on. But right now, you can mark your calendars for February 11th and 22nd. Woodland Heights Resource Center will be hosting a Black History Month festival with Meet the Greeks Step Show Kids Edition from 6 to 8:30 p.m. on February 11th. Then on February 22nd, Brownsville Community Center will have a day of expression with musical performances, spoken words, and more. That's 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. On that same day at Cobb Resource Center, they will host a Black History dinner and display for people ages 50 and up. To learn more about the events, visit playpensacola.com.
We have some great news for our citizens in District 1. Gold Point Resource Center is now open.
We closed the center in May to update the classrooms, bathroom, lobby, gym, and kitchen. It's all been redone. So come check out the new improved Gull Point Resource Center.
Tanya, something people may not realize because we have a ton of great programs is that we offer tutoring, don't we?
We sure do. To the Top Tutoring is a program we offer to students in kindergarten through 12th grade. It's at the Woodland Heights Resource Center. Our partner Movement for Change offers the service to help students progress towards their next grade level or graduation. The program is offered on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Best of all, it's free. To register, you can contact John Geralds at 850-433-1749.
Well, Pensacola, that is all we have for this episode of The Upside. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.
This has been The Upside, brought to you by the City of Pensacola. Join us right here again next week for more of The Upside.
On this week's City Spotlight, we're trying something new. Our reporter, Allie Norton, sat down with Pensacola Police Chief Tommy Leiter to reflect on his 30 years of service. Take a look.
I graduated from the academy actually 30 years ago. I was 20, so I had to wait till I was 21 to get hired. So I actually in service is 29 years, pushing 30. So we're technical. I got hired in 1990. You know, my dad was military, so I grew up as a Navy brat, dependent. And I think a lot of the lessons that I learned from my father and just, growing up on Navy bases, military bases, a lot of the values, the core values, they kind of align themselves with law enforcement. I went to 3 different high schools, a number of duty stations. It seems like every 4 years or so we were moving. And when we landed here in Pensacola, I was 18 years old, and I was a little punch drunk, I think. I was just like, I'm done moving, because the military was a big draw to me. And I decided my senior year in high school, actually, this is what I wanted to do. So I went to college. I graduated high school, went to college, and majored in criminal justice, and then and got hired. The rest is, here I am. It goes by so fast.
What's been your main takeaway after nearly 30 years of service?
Despite what you hear on the news, people are good. I think sincerely, the vast majority of the population, they just want to do good. They're good, kind people. And sometimes in law enforcement, especially in law enforcement, when you're working patrol or say investigations, I had worked crimes against children, I was assigned that job. And you kind of immerse yourself in that. And unfortunately in law enforcement, especially early on in my career, you spend your whole day looking for bad guys. Crack cocaine hit Pensacola in late 80s, early 90s, and it was an epidemic. And I think that's why it was such a rough city. We had a lot of shootings, a lot of homicides. There were places in Pensacola that we weren't allowed to go by ourselves. We had to wait for a backup officer into neighborhoods. They'd throw bottles at us, throw bricks at us. Pensacola's rough. And if you spend all day of your working life just dealing with that percentage of the population, that group, it can kind of skew your perception of the whole. And I think having spent almost 30 years now in law enforcement, a lesson learned, and we really try to push that out to our new hires especially, is to swap that up a little bit. Don't spend your whole day, if you spend your whole day looking for bad guys, we push our community service aspect so hard here at the police department, not just, it's a constant battle with perception. If you just watch the national news, and that is your perception of law enforcement, what you see on national news, then it's going to skew. What happens in Baltimore and Chicago and some of these bigger cities affects the perception of law enforcement right here in Pensacola. So we push our community service aspect as much as we can, because that's not a true representation of Pensacola Police Department.
What do you want the general public to know about policing that may be a common misconception?
It's at the end of the day, we're husbands, we're fathers, we're brothers and sons, and we're the officer. It's a job, and a lot of people can't separate the uniform from the person. So we'll go on, especially some of the calls where emotions are real high, and they start that personal attack on officers, and that it can be biting sometimes. We're still, at the end of the day, we're still people, And it's a difficult job. On a good day, it's extremely difficult and incredibly dangerous. And I think, I wish people would appreciate that a little bit more. It's unlikely. The chances of us getting into a shootout are pretty slim, but it's happened. I've been in a shootout in my career. It's happened here in Pensacola not too long ago. So it is, again, Pensacola is a wonderful city, but it's still an incredibly dangerous job.
How has technology changed policing?
Technology is a big change in it. When I first got hired, cell phones weren't readily available. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have computers. Not only did we not have in-car laptop computers, we didn't have computers at the station. I was in investigations, and we were still typing reports. Everything in the street was handwritten reports. So technology was a driving force in a lot of change in law enforcement. The job is much harder today. I think we demand a lot more from our officers than we did when I got hired. I think it was more dangerous back then, just because the city, Pensacola in 1990, there were some rough areas in Pensacola, whereas it's literally transformed over the 30 years that I've been policing here.
Has technology made it safer as well?
I think some of the technology, the drone program makes our job safer. Just last year, if we had a barricaded suspect, we had to send a SWAT team in. At the end of the day, you're going to have to send 6 guys into a very dangerous situation. K9, when we're tracking people, you just have to turn the corner. You have a blind corner. You trust your dog as much as you can, but you just, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's pitch black and you're chasing an armed suspect. It's incredibly dangerous. And now with the drones, it allows us to get that bird's eye view, and we can send that into a house. We can send that in front of an officer, especially on a K9 track, that kind of stuff. So will make the job safer. I think that the technology that we have, where we can get backgrounds much quicker, and the warrant services and that kind of makes the job much safer today as well.
What kind of advice would you have for somebody who's thinking about coming into the police force?
I would highly recommend that they spend some time, sit down and think about it. We encourage them to do a ride along, because you ask that question, what makes you drawn to law enforcement? What is it about the job? And if it's, CSI Miami, or it's the television shows that they're watching, that's not law enforcement. That's certainly not an accurate representation of law enforcement. Even Cops, I cannot stand to watch that show. But even Cops isn't an accurate representation of it, because it takes, live PD, that kind of stuff. They'll come in for 2 weeks to get a 30-minute segment. It's not all, especially in Pensacola, knock on wood. We're a safe city. We had 1 homicide in a little over 2 years. We don't have violent crimes or historic lows. So it's not all chasing bad guys and car chases and that kind of stuff. A lot of it's a lot of paperwork, a lot of the mundane kind of stuff. So I think that talking to somebody about it is to really kind of understand what the job's about. And every agency is different. Of course, every city is different. So policing in Pensacola is significantly different than policing in Baltimore, policing in Chicago or New York, as you can imagine, or even at the Sheriff's Department. They got a lot of rural areas, and we take for granted that we can get on the radio and call for help, and in 5 minutes you could have 4 police officers there. There are sections in Escambia County on the north end of the county where you're 15, 20, 30 minutes before you get somebody there, and that's a significant difference. I go to a lot of conferences. I went, training conferences as an officer in the SWAT team and dive team and investigations and it's a lot of training involved in law enforcement, as you can imagine. It's a constant training cycle from the new officer all the way up to the chief. But a cop's a cop. I just like talking to them. And the Escambia County Sheriff's Department, our sister agency, they have wonderful people. But it's different policing in the county than it is in the city, just because there's such a huge sections of the county that are rural. And so each agency is a little bit different, a little bit personality, and you may succeed at one agency and not really click at another agency. So I would, if you're interested in law enforcement and you want to make a career out of it, don't settle on one agency necessarily. Have a conversation with the officers and make that decision based on that.
What's kept you here so long?
Family is a big one. I'm very fortunate to have my family live here in Pensacola, and I love the city. I have a passion for what I do. I love the profession of policing, and I can't imagine doing anything else. Even 29 years goes by. I can't believe how fast it went.
So how many more years do we have of Chief Leiter serving the citizens of Pensacola?
So I'm going to drop in February. I'll enter the drop in February is my intentions. A lot of that's really tied to just my personal life with what my wife's going through with a cancer diagnosis. So I don't know, 5 years, and then we'll see where I end up. So I love coming to work. Even the bad days, I don't have any terrible days. There's some stressful days, and there's some days that are just, I got an officer injured or something like that. I got to visit somebody in the hospital. Even the tough days are not terrible. You get through them, and then you come back and start it. I love what I do, and I'm passionate about it.
For more episodes of The Upside and City Spotlight, visit our YouTube channel. We'll be right back after these messages.
Natural gas dryers may cost a little more than electric ones, but they dry clothes quicker, making them cost half as much to run. So now who's getting taken to the cleaners? Learn more at PensacolaEnergy.com.
Natural gas homes are in demand. Here's what home builders have to say.
Gas provides a wonderful selling advantage over electricity. Customers love cooking with natural gas. It gets hotter faster. The temperature is actually more controllable. The energy efficiency absolutely plays a part with our decision to put natural gas in our homes. It's much more efficient for our customers to use natural gas.
Natural gas from Pensacola Energy, the clean, reliable, earth-friendly choice.
Welcome back. Now we turn to our green tip of the week. If you would like to save natural resources, protect the environment, and save money, then share. Party decorations, tools, and furniture can all be borrowed or rented. When we share items, it reduces the amount of waste, and that's something to celebrate. Would you like to work for the city of Pensacola or know someone who would? We're hiring. This week's featured job is for an airport operations dispatcher. The person who fills this position will be responsible for coordinating airport operational activities and requests for service. To learn more about it and apply, visit PensacolaCityJobs.com. We'll be right back after this.
Hey Hannah, what are you looking at?
Akeem, I think I need to have my garbage cart replaced and that pothole needs to be repaired.
So call the city.
I don't know. I mean, there's so many numbers, I don't even know where to start.
Hannah, it's simple. Just dial 311.
311? What's that?
It's your one number for access to all city services.
I don't know about that. I mean, wouldn't I have to call the sanitation department about the cart and then the public works department about the pothole?
Hannah, not anymore. You simply dial 311 and you're connected to a knowledgeable representative who can handle your request or connect you to the appropriate department. It's that simple.
311, huh?
311.
Okay, so 311 can help me with my sanitation cart and potholes. Can it help me with anything else?
Absolutely. Street lights, flooding, sidewalks, code requests, traffic signals, the list goes on and on and on. You can reach them by dialing 311 or submitting your request on the city's user-friendly website. They even have a mobile app that you can enter your request on your smartphone.
Wow, I'm impressed.
So, what are you going to do?
I'm gonna call 311.
Thank you for calling Pensacola 311. How can I help you?
I have a pothole on my street and I also need a new garbage cart.
We can take care of that for you. I'll just need the location information and we will process both requests right away.
That's it?
That's it. You can also track the status of your request online as well. Is there anything else I can help you with?
That will be all. Thank you.
No, thank you for helping to keep our city beautiful.
Look, there's debris covering that storm drain. I better call 311 when I can catch my breath.
Why wait? There's a mobile app for that.
Some food for thought for your Friday. In this episode of Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, host John Scanlon from Pensacola Energy shows us how to use natural gas to make swordfish with horseradish mustard sauce.
On this episode of Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites, we're having swordfish with horseradish mustard sauce. Stick around to find out how it's done.
Welcome to Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
Hey, welcome to Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites. I'm your host, John Scanlon, and we have a very special show for you today. We're actually going to be featuring recipes from our Fiesta Seafood Cookbook. It's a taste of Pensacola. And we actually have the most unqualified chef on the show today, and that's me. So today I'll be making swordfish with horseradish mustard, and it's in the cookbook, it's 25 years of recipes from the Fiesta Seafood Grill at the Pensacola Seafood Festival. And there's a lot of recipes, and it goes from the simplistic to the complex, and this is probably the most simplistic you can get. So I'm going to start with, I have some swordfish. I got looks like 2.5 fillets or steaks. Then we have a half cup of horseradish, a half cup of Dijon mustard. We have some capers for the end. We have, and I'm going to be following the recipes, a juice of 2 lemons, a half cup of dry white wine, and a teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Like I said, this is a real easy recipe. All we're going to be doing is mixing our ingredients together. So we do have that half cup of Dijon, half cup of horseradish. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be a spicy meal just from that much horseradish, but it's stuff that I like. We got our lemon juice from 2 lemons, half cup of white wine, and we're going to be adding our teaspoon of crushed red pepper. Now we're just going to mix this up, get it nice and blended. Now that the marinade's mixed, we're just going to pour it over the swordfish. I'm going to toss them a few times, just get them coated on each side. Then we're going to throw them in the refrigerator for about an hour to chill. And that's it. All right, our swordfish has been marinating for a little over an hour in our horseradish mustard sauce. I did mention earlier that it was a half cup of horseradish and half a cup of Dijon mustard. It's 1 whole cup of each. So we have plenty of horseradish and Dijon mustard in here. And all that's left is we're going to cook these swordfish. Now, on the recipe, it does call for grilled. Instead, we're going to just cook it in a pan. All right, we're just going to cook that till each side's a little opaque. Then we'll flip it and we'll plate it up. Now this recipe is found in the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, Taste of Pensacola, and it's 25 years of history from local restaurants. A lot of local chefs have put the recipes in it. 25 years worth from the Fiesta Seafood Grill at the Pensacola Seafood Festival. All these cookbooks are for sale. They're $15. And all of the proceeds go to the Escambia Utility Assistance Program, which helps the elderly pay the utility bills. You can give us a call at 850-436-5050 and order one today. But we do have a little smaller swordfish steak here, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it. The small one does look done. We're still cooking the 2 larger ones. Man, that looks incredible. It smells awesome too. All right, our little swordfish steak looks to be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and set it over here. And then the big ones look like they're ready to be flipped. All right, another couple minutes and these should be ready to go. All right, it looks like our swordfish with horseradish mustard is done. And it looks flaky just how it should. Excellent. And again, this recipe is in the Fiesta Seafood Cookbook, A Taste of Pensacola. You can see how easy it is to follow along, just a few steps. You can impress your friends and your family. So the swordfish is done. Now we're going to add some capers to the top just to finish it. I'm a big fan of capers. Now it's complete. Excellent. Make sure to stay tuned to other Coastal Cooking Presents Quick Bites as we show more recipes from the cookbook.
This has been Coastal Cooking Quick Bites, brought to you by Pensacola Energy.
That's all we have for this episode of City Roundup. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you same place, same time next week.
This has been City Roundup with Saida Rosa. City Roundup is the City of Pensacola's one-stop shop for everything having to do with Pensacola. Join us again each Friday at 8 a.m. for more of City Roundup.